This is Hellbrent for Leather, and you're watching Cast in the Act. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cast in the Act. Had a bit of a delay on this one. Had a lot to put together. Submitted a bunch of questions to Mike, as I had mentioned back on the socials and such a month or two back, and finally got answers back to everything. And now I have everything edited together, and I am quite pleased with how this turned out. Do not look for super in-depth answers. It's been many years, and his memory is not what it used to be by his own admission. But I had some very, very thoughtful questions that were presented, and I will give credit where credit's due on each of those. And then had some questions myself, and so I think by the time everything was said and done, we got what was it? A total of 14 questions that were asked and answered, and I'm very much looking forward to bringing these to you. So just a little bit of background info. And to elaborate, the Mike I'm talking about, Mike Jackson, the former singer of Satan as well as Pariah. He sang on the Dirt demo from 1986. He sang on the Into the Future 12-inch, also from late 1986. Then Suspended Sentence from 1987. And then after the name changed, Pariah, The Kindred from 1988. Maybe 87 as well. I'm not going to look it up right now. I don't recall. And then Pariah, Blaze of Obscurity, 1989. So I'm a massive fan of Mike's, a massive fan of his time with the band. I love Pariah. I love Suspended Sentence. I think they're among the best things that the band has ever done, which it's a little bit of a misnomer because I love everything the band has ever done, as if anyone watching this hasn't been able to figure out by now. But there's a lot of people that don't think about Mike's time in the band. Unfortunately, they really should. And then there's a lot of people that absolutely adore Mike's time with the band, much like myself. And we have been rabid fans screaming about our love and our fandom for him for many years. So I wanted to kind of present that to him and show that while he has been happily retired from the music business for many years now, and mostly retired, well, I guess now completely retired from any kind of a live events or anything like that, as he was a DJ. He had other projects and stuff that he did over the years. He had a Blues Brothers cover band, et cetera, concert photography and all of that. Due to his health and such, he is not able to enjoy those things anymore. But what it's taken from him physically with some of his motor skills and his speech and such, he's still a fantastic guy to talk to. He's still very funny. And just genuinely a joy to speak to in any of the times that I ever get to talk to him. So I wanted to impart to him, the fans around the world, our love for him and his time with the band, and really give him an opportunity to speak to everyone and hopefully have some insightful questions and some insightful answers as well. So without further ado, so how I did this, Mike's not really able to speak very well anymore. So I submitted a bunch of questions to him, most of which were submitted to me. The last few questions coming from me, as I thought the previous questions were so good, they weren't going to top anything that I was going to ask in regards to rewording them or anything like that. So I submitted a whole bunch of questions to him through email, and he answered them all back and sent me back everything. So I got it edited together, and the way that I'm doing it is I'm going to be asking the questions through my mic on video, And then I have an AI that is going to be reading his answers. This is all done with his knowledge and permission. I apologize. It is a British AI. I wanted to get at least an AI that is British, considering that he's British. It probably does not sound like his natural speaking voice, but without being able to get his natural speaking voice and have it cloned, this is the best I've got. But so what I'm going to do is I'll ask the question, and then I'm going to edit in his answer that will be read by the AI. And so normally I would sit down and just do all of this in one shot in one take. The way that I'm having to do this with this is I'm having to kind of edit everything together. So it's going to be, I won't say choppy, but you can tell that it's going to be edited and such with how I'm having to do this. But with this being the very first interview that he's done in many years, and possibly his last, I don't know if he's really interested in doing interviews. He kind of did this one as a favor to me, I believe. And if that is truly the case, then I doubly extra appreciate that, because he certainly did not have to. But he's a lovely man. He has a lovely family, and I'm so happy to be able to show him just how much he's appreciated and loved. And while, that life has left him behind, the fans certainly have not. And we will always be here in love and adoration for him. So that's that in regards to the setup for all of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the introduction of the email that I sent him, as well as my first question, and then we'll go from there. So here are the questions that I had submitted, and some of which I wrote myself for the interview that we talked about. Noel, the guy immediately below who asked several questions, goes by Noel Quarter on Instagram, had some that were very in-depth, and I did let him know that I would ask them all, but that your answers might not be a huge deep dive, as this was roughly 40 years ago, and there are some detailed questions. Feel free to answer under each question as in-depth as you can, and if you would like to, at the end, if you have any additional comments you'd like for me to read on the show, I would be more than honored to do so. As I mentioned to you previously, what I'm going to do is have this on the show where I would ask the questions on screen, and then I would have an AI read your answers back to me word for word, unless otherwise notated, as to catch all of the context and such. Now, I did clean up a couple of editorial things, but it did not change any of the context or anything that he actually was saying. Let's see. I'll try to have as natural of a voice as I can to do it, and will announce that it is not actually your voice doing the speaking, as to be as upfront and ethical as possible in that endeavor, because there's so many moral and ethical red lines with AI with a lot of people. I'm one of those. I like AI for research and such, but I really do. I don't like it for creativity. Back to the email. I greatly appreciate the opportunity you've allowed of me to do this, and promise I will do the very best that I can to treat this with great care. With that said, on to the questions. The following are asked by Noel Quarter on Instagram. I opted to let him ask all of them because they were very thoughtful, insightful, and he's definitely a fan of your work, considering the tidbits that he's throwing around amongst the questions. Question number 1. How was the songwriting process? Was there a difference between writing with Steve or Russ, or even Graham or Bean, with songs that were written by one sole member, such as Puppet Regime or Hypochondriac? What directions would you be given for vocal melodies?
When I wrote my lyrics, I would finish the lyric and hand them to the other band members. Whatever suited the riff written by Russ, Steve, or Bean would be used. We would then travel to Clink rehearsal rooms in London, and the songs would be put together there as a collective band effort, as vocal melodies that would just come naturally with the song.
Of the bands that Satan and Pariah performed with, Angel Witch, DAM, Running Wild, etc., do you have any notable memories?
We became friends with Angel Witch when we played the first Dynamo Open Air Festival in 1986. We hit it off and decided to do a small tour in Europe. It was fun, but not glamorous, ha-ha. We travelled together in shitty vans. The life of an underground band is not upmarket at all. We had tyre blowouts, van breakdowns the lot. Not many showers and too much booze, half of it I can't remember as I was pissed, haha. Damn was only a couple of shows. Jason is a local cabaret singer in my hometown of Morecambe. Now, that's if that's the Damn you mean. And Running Wild was also a fantastic tour of Europe with fantastic lads. The defining memories I have of that tour was it was a bit more upmarket. We got hotels and showers on those gigs. What happened on that tour was one of the reasons we changed the name Satan to Pariah. When we would arrive at venues, religious groups would be burning Satan shirts.
What memories do you have of the Dynamo Open Air 1986 and other notable festivals and gigs? The headlining band of the event, Joshua, were a Christian band. Did they have any reactions to being on a bill with a band named Satan?
The Dynamo Festival was such a fun gig. It's where we became friends with Angel Witch. Joshua did not like the name Satan. What I can remember, when Steve was pissed, we all were, he did shout at the band, "Hey, we are Satan," when he went in the dressing. That didn't go down too well. We didn't have much contact after that, LOL. He just thought it was funny, didn't mean any harm. We got a gig because Satan were good friends with the organizer, Andre,
Keeping in tradition of Court in the Act, Suspended Sentence, and the Pariah albums continued with the lyrical themes of injustice and life. Did you feel natural writing about said subject matter, or did you find yourself having difficulties?
It was just a band thing. We all felt injustice and the bad way people were treated. It just felt natural to write about things we felt needed saying. It sort of came natural to us all.
During your tenure with the band, there was a big shift in the image to represent the pariah/outcast concept with ripped clothing and soot all over. How did this idea come about? Was it spontaneous decision or did it develop gradually?
All I can say, it came natural. We just wanted an image that was different. Some silly decisions with hindsight, to be honest.
Similarly, with the band's image, you were very animated on stage, constantly running around and jumping. Was this characteristic of you, or did you feel that it was necessary to do so as a frontman? And what influenced you? Whom influenced you?
I was a massive Queen fan. I idolized Freddie, and his persona was over the top. It was just the way I was full of energy in those days. I did feel the job of a frontman was to be animated and to entertain the people paying to see you. All the band performed when on stage.
One of the reasons for Satan changing their name for a second time was due to a tour that the band had done with Running Wild. Due to the band's name, there were stories ranging from a mayor trying to cancel the show to Christians showing up and preventing people from entering the venue. Were there any other crazy stories from this tour and instances that caused the name change?
It was the protesters and the shows trying to be cancelled that influenced the name change. I'm sorry I can't be more in depth with my answer. It was quite strange watching people burn our shirts and having to sneak into shows.
A bit of a silly one, and probably a question you get quite a bit. Any funny incidents or stories from sharing the name with that other Michael Jackson?
I've had people giggling at my name all my life. I even get "Where's Bubbles" to this day, and I'm 62 now. In my teens, my friend was called James Bond. We got into a bit of bother and had to go into a nightclub manager's office. They said, "What's your names?" We said Michael Jackson and James Bond. Needless to say, the police got involved, LOL. It all ended well.
Reflecting on the 3 albums and the EP that you did with the band, which songs stand out as your favorite and the ones you feel the most proud of in terms of to play live or listening to?
I'm proud of all the albums, but my favorite album is Blaze of Obscurity. All the songs on that album are well crafted and I feel it's the best work. Sadly, due to money, difficulties and broken promises by certain music industry partners at the time, it was my last album.
I would really like to thank Noel Quarter on Instagram for those very thoughtful questions. I really, really appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy the interview. Next is going to be a question from a gentleman named Paul Reichart on Facebook, and he asks, what is your most memorable gig that is a positive memory, and which is your most memorable that is a negative memory?
I would say Dynamo Open Air is my favourite. I met a lot of lovely people on that gig. Very fond memories. To be honest, I enjoyed all the gigs. We had a couple of gigs in Sweden where my vocals were sore. Never a good thing for a singer, didn't enjoy them.
The next question here is from Aaron Thom on Facebook, and he asks, did you ever record any music with Rough Edge or any other demo-only bands?
Only a demo with 4 songs with Rough Edge. I left that band to join Satan through an ad in NME. I made another demo of songs including Hollywood Nights and Get It On, which got me my audition in London with the band.
The last questions are from me and are more personal in nature versus your time with the band, as those questions above cover a lot of that very well. Once you left Pariah, what did you do to keep yourself occupied? I know you got into photography, event DJing, and I believe I saw somewhere that you had a Blues Brothers theme project that you were part of. Could you elaborate a bit on what you did in the years after your leaving, in addition to the few things that I mentioned? Or correct me if I'm wrong on the Blues Brothers theme project, etc. Haha.
When I left the band, I was a bit lost. I joined a local band, Minstrels of Power, which was short-lived. I had various jobs from Ice Cream Man, LOL, to working at the Haitian power station. My friend was a cabaret singer and helped me get backing tracks, and I started to do that. Got popular locally and ended up doing it full-time for many, many years, from local rock duos to Blues Brothers tribute act. I was also a hotel manager for a couple of years alongside this. I met my first wife in 1990 and had 2 kids. My son Callum, who is 30, and my daughter Alice, who is 28. I also became a photographer at weddings and live festivals, until 4 years ago when my illness put an end to me working.
I'm very much inspired by your relentless positivity in the face of your health setbacks and such recently. For those of us who might be going through our own trials and tribulations, personal struggles, etc., what words of encouragement do you have that help you remain so positive at times when it might not be so easy?
I think you can't change what life deals you. You have to face it head on. If you let it get you down, it's a downward spiral, which can lead to depression, and which I've seen others go into, and it's horrible, which I will not succumb to. So I see the glass half full. Without being morbid, I'm not afraid of death, which helps my own state of mind. Whatever life deals you, none of us live forever, Lowell.
And my last question is, I see a lot of the holidays that you take with your family. Of all the places that you've been, where do you enjoy the most, and where would you opt to maybe not go back to again?
Me and my wife love Palma Nova, and tend to go there once a year at least. We went to Morocco 1 year and hated it. We tend to go where we are comfortable.
In closing, I would really like to thank you for your time. There were a ton of comments on the social media page, as well as on the Satan page, regarding this post, many of which were not questions, but just well wishes and admiration for you. As I've told you before, you have a ton of people who really enjoyed that era of the band. You brought a different style to the vocals than what Brian had with his own, and it helped the band usher in a new style that I personally hold in the highest esteem alongside the earlier stuff. So many of us hold Suspended Sentence as dearly as we hold Court in the Act, and a big part of that was your performance. You were a force to be reckoned with, both in the studio and from the many bootlegs I've seen and listened to live as well. You're a musically brilliant guy and someone whom I've become very privileged to call my friend. Take care of yourself, Mike. Thank you so much. To everyone else, thank you for tuning in. I know that the Brian era of the band gets so much admiration and such, and sometimes from certain people that might not know, when the band kind of had to undergo a transformation after Brian left and they reformed as Blind Fury. Another great band. I love Blind Fury. It's straight up cheesy 80s metal. It's definitely not new wave of British heavy metal. But again, fantastic album. Out of Reach. Get it if you don't have it. If you don't have it, get it. But then they decided that they wanted to kind of go away from the more commercialized metal, which is what they were trying to do with that, and go more into a rougher, harder edge. And that's what they did. So they came back with the Dirt demo, like I mentioned before. Just a fantastic 4-song just ripper. I mean, Key to Oblivion, probably my favorite Satan song overall. And Brian does a fantastic cover of that song with his own vocals on the bonus. Mine's the bonus LP, but I'm sure there was a CD version of it too. Of Cruel Magic has just a fantastic cover. Brian's rendition of that song. Hear Evil, See Evil, Speak Evil, Fuck You, and The Iceman. That 4-song demo then got released as Into the Future on Steamhammer, and that kind of paved the way for them to come out with the full-length album. My understanding was these 4 songs were supposed to end up. Well, actually, I take that back. Those 4 songs were supposed to be on the next album called Into the Future, but they wound up releasing Into the Future as a 4-song EP, the same exact songs and recordings as what is on the Dirt demo, and then a full-length album of Suspended Sentence, which is just a fantastic record. It really, truly is. And then, as he mentioned in the interview, they had problems out touring with Christian groups and just promoters potentially trying to cancel shows and such, and them not being able to have tour opportunities due to the name. So they changed the band name once again over to Pariah and put out 2 fantastic records under Pariah. The Kindred, it's a really great album. I do like it a lot. But then, as he mentioned, Blaze of Obscurity being his favorite of the 2, it is mine as well. It's more polished. Not to say that it went in a commercial direction. It certainly did not. But it's just it's a more polished, better produced record. And then later on, of course, Michael left the band. And then it kind of went dormant for several years. And then Pariah then put out their 3rd album with Alan Hunter on vocals, as well as Ian McCormick of early Satan fame on drums. And I believe, if I recall correctly, Unity came out in 97. And it actually just got pressed on vinyl for the first time this month, rather. Late last month or early this month. I can't recall. I think it's late last month. Along with repressings of the Kindred and Blaze of Obscurity, all 3 available on vinyl as well as on CD, newly pressed. So feel free to grab those, please. Lord knows we have shared it enough. Definitely worth getting. Certainly that Unity, since it's never been available on vinyl before. I do wish that era of the band would get the due that it deserves, because those Pariah albums and Suspended Sentence are every bit as good as Court in the Act or the early demos or anything that they've done Life Sentence on. Just truly, maybe not the most consistent band in the world in terms of their sound, because they did kind of change their sound, but absolutely consistent in quality. Any day of the week, I'm going to tell you my favorite Satan album is probably a different album than the day before. They're the greatest band comeback ever, and it's not close. So my love for this band comes through with me doing this show. And I'm very privileged to be able to call everyone my friend and have a friendship as well as professional relationship with them all. And please, by all means, if I didn't make it more than apparent in this interview, please check out the Michael Jackson era of the band. It is not to be missed, and it is fantastic. Until next episode, I greatly appreciate everyone's time, and